Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Lee Cage. I'm your host of 15 Minutes with. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to introduce our most distinguished guest thus far. She has an incredible wealth of experience in guiding leaders through the dynamic realms of marketing and alliances and internal communication. She also is originally kind of coming from the sunny state of Florida, and she finds her home now in Nebraska. From my understanding, she's a marathoner, she's a relay racer, and she's doing all types of crazy cool things over at OneSource Virtual, a boutique Workday consultancy. So, without further ado and without oversharing just yet, I'd love to have Shelly come to the stage. Good morning, Shelly.
Good morning. How are you doing, Bailey?
I am amazing. It's Halloween, right? So I'm super excited about that. I'm curious to see what types of spookiness I'll see coming to my door later, but very excited about that portion.
Awesome. Yeah. Halloween is my husband's birthday, so it's a big celebration here at our house. So
Um,
good.
any special plans?
Handing out candy, scaring children. The girls will come in, we'll have dinner, who knows when. So it'll be one of those bite, go answer the door, bite, go answer the door, but it'll be a good time.
I love that. So, Shelly, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, life. I heard you say your husband's birthday is today. You have some children, so we'd love to learn a little bit more about you, person.
Awesome. Well, that's a scary thing in and of itself on Halloween. But so career wise, my career is at Jungle Gym. I don't know that there's any other way to describe it, but I started out eons ago as a software deployment for a firm called Highland Software. I worked for a firm called ITI, which is a subsidiary of Pfizer. And that was back in the day when people still received checks in the mail. I mean, the big bundles of checks in an envelope. And we were trying to eliminate that, right? Eliminate paper, eliminating that back office. And so it was going to the check imaging processing. And I was working on the back office scanning. That's where I dipped my toe in alliances at the time, although we didn't really have a name for it back then. But I was the alliance person for Highland Software. Then moved over to a firm called Connexa and got into employee engagement, which I think in my heart and soul, that's where I love, because when you're an engaged employee, you're a better spouse, better parent, better significant other, better neighbor, just all the things. And you don't have that work kind of mentality weighing on you. So that's where I found that love for behavioral sciences. And then we got purchased by a big company, Big Blue. Didn't really jive with them so well. So moved on to a company called Mercer. And that's where I got into the Workday ecosystem. Connexa was kind of in it. We were a Star Alliance partner to Workday back before Workday even had talent management. So when they were just about to join us. Yeah, so we were one of their preferred partners. So we were kind of in it, but not really, because they hadn't really blown out the Workday ecosystem at that time. Went to Mercer, did it from there, and then cross country, Crossview, where I had the pleasure of meeting you. And then moved into OSV now, where I'm solely, before in those other roles, I was marketing and alliances or marketing and trying to figure out how do you do these marketing partnerships, or partner marketer would be the best way to say it. And then here at OSV, just focusing on alliances. Personally, been married 25 years, just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, and
Wow.
have two daughters, 25 and 24. So my youngest, Gabby, just got married, and my oldest, Maddie, is living her best life with her two dogs and a cat. So it's all good.
Wow, there's so much there to unpack. So, one, congratulations on 25 years. That is such a long time. I'm only a few months into marriage. So I'm just looking up the road of what the next 25 years and hopefully life brings us down the pathway. So how does it feel to have, a daughter who's obviously like married and starting her own family and life? Is it what you were always kind of hoping for? Or are you still kind of having some of that moments of like, oh,
I'm still having the moments. I mean, because here's the real reality, right? Like we all are, well, when you're married or dating or whatever, you have these in-laws. And the realization where I turned to my husband, I think the day of the wedding, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be those in-laws. Like he's going to complain about us because we're not his family, which, okay, I don't complain about my mother-in-law that much, but, or I haven't complained about my, I would have put that out there for the internet. But it's still a little different, right? You're merging two families together in a kind of complementary way. And then they're trying to figure it out because, his family has their traditions, our family has our traditions. So trying to help them balance that. And for us, it's like, for example, like Thanksgiving. If we celebrate Thanksgiving on Sunday, we celebrate Thanksgiving on Sunday. Like we're pretty low key with that stuff. But I know some folks are a little bit more strict. So we're just trying to, that was probably a long answer to your question, but trying to figure it out.
I love that. So, I mean, I don't have children yet, and I'm obviously not an in-law. So I've always wondered, like, what is it to put, someone else in those positions? I remember on my wedding day back in March of this year, it was that moment of like, okay, so we're really doing this. We're really doing this forever. And now our families are doing this because we are doing this. We've, kind of forced that to happen with love, obviously, but we forced that to happen. And now here we are. We're going to do this thing and they're part from the journey. So already we're trying to navigate, to your point, Thanksgiving. So my grandmother mentioned earlier this year, we'll just have Thanksgiving on December 9th. So it's like the midway of Thanksgiving and Christmas, since we're now splitting our families, in this kind of unique way. So I appreciate you sharing that. So you mentioned some things around starting really in alliances and marketing a very long time ago. When I met you at our mutual partner, I didn't realize you had been doing it that long. So has it always been like this thing of where you love this thing, or was it the thing where you more so were focused on like vision shaping and culture and innovation, employee and experience, and you kind of fell into this area?
I think I fell into it. So when I was at Connexa, I started off with a project management, and that's kind of the basis for who I am, is project management with this employee engagement thing. And then they moved me into marketing, and I became this product marketer, and then led a global events team. And that's where I started dipping my toe into the Workday. And you have to have that project management, and you have to be a little crazy, let's be honest, to do it. It's insanity there. So I kind of fell into it when I joined Mercer. They're kind of broken out into different areas, but then I was part of this talent group. And so I was the marketer in the business, even though at the time I couldn't say that, in the business for what they were doing. And my boss at the time, I worked with her at Connexa, and she pulled me over. But then that's when we became a Workday partner. So when I became that partner marketer, it was a new field for me. And that's what I really love, is just creating stuff. So trying to find your way, whether it being events or whether it being partner marketing or product marketing, there are standards out there and guidelines out there, but then it's always unique to your personality and what you're bringing in the situation you're in. So I love just creating that part. And so that's how I've kind of fallen into it. I mean, my job, I'm not a like, hey, what's your 5-year plan? I am not that person. I am a fly by the seat of your pants. And as long as it keeps me excited, I'm good. So
Wow. Now, you mentioned a little bit about the events and kind of event planning. I have to say, obviously, I was at Rising this year. As always, OSV has these epically elaborate, monstrous, all-inclusive, ever-evolving parties. So I'm assuming you were a part of that in some shape, form, or fashion.
I was a sliver, to be honest. My coworker Bianca was the brainchild behind all that, and I don't know that I would have the brain span or the creativity to do what she did, and she did that. So I was just there to moral support is what I would say. So
Wow. Well, shout out to Bianca. I don't know you, but lovely job. So, okay, so as we kind of talk a little bit about your career, you mentioned someone in your family. I'm curious, what do you find as like your core or your center? Like if there were two things that like really centers Shelly, what would those two things be?
that would be family and faith. One, I mean, my whole my authentic self is my family. My girls are my heart and soul. My husband is my best friend. So they are by far my center. And then my faith. I mean, I'm a cradle Catholic, but I'm an actual practicing cradle Catholic. So
Wow.
that's where I went to Catholic school. I mean, total like Catholic school girl, graduated with the class of 7. So there's a whole thing to
Oh, I love
think
that.
about.
Yeah.
Um, 5 girls, 2 boys. But it's who I am. I mean, it's not something I hide from. So I think it's part of that thing about just being authentic, and this is authentically me. And I know some people it makes them uncomfortable to talk about faith, but when I struggle, that's the first thing I do is say, God help me out. So that's who I am.
I love that. My grandmother says a phrase, his line is never too busy to take your call.
That's true. And I like the other one is too, is your prayers are never answered on your time. Like that's the thing too. Like sometimes you just have to be patient, and that's what it teaches you. And it also helps that there's someone else in your corner, even if you don't see them. So
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing. Like I said, I love that. But so you've mentioned some about your faith. You've mentioned some about your family. We've learned so much about what it's like to now be the in-laws. We'll see what in our 15 minutes with reunion. We'll see how you're doing.
that sounds good.
So I guess I'm curious. You've had all of these interactions with folks at IBM and at Crossview and at Connexa and at OSV. If there was one thing you would want strangers to remember you by, what would it be?
Just be yourself. Like one, don't be afraid to take the opportunities. Like sometimes you don't see yourself doing what the leadership team is asking you to do. And that's how I'm at OSV, by the way, is my manager at Mercer called and said, hey, I think I have this opportunity for you, and I think it would be really good for you. And at first I was like, really? Like, do I want to, like, one, marketing has been so much part of my life the past 10 years or more. Do I want to drop that part? But then when you think about how you build relationships, and essentially I'm building friendships or making friendships for a living, it's kind of a cool thing. Like that's what I do. Is talk to different partners, find out what their gap is, how we can help them. And it's all about being that better together. So developing a team. And I think that's what's cool about it is I get to have multiple friends across the ecosystem. We're all friends instead of being frenemies like we would have been at a prior day consultancy. But it's just a cool thing to know that you have so many people who want to partner with you and want to drive this forward and Workday themselves. I mean, it's a cool gig, and I love it.
Wow. So, you know me probably more than some of the other folks listening in. I have never followed the frenemy mantra. I love everybody. I love people. I just like to connect and do all the things. And I've always seen that in you, even when we worked together previously, and just kind of watching you throughout Rising. You're this kind of connector, and it looks like you've actually found the perfect job for you because you're like the nucleus of partnerships at OSV and for other partners, which is exactly what people need, is to have that bridge. So kudos to you, and shout out to OSV for realizing how to tap into that potential for you and for their benefit. So we're going to move to this interesting portion of our conversation. Okay, Shelly, brace yourself for impact. We call this rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We want the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I might be pitting out a little bit, but I'm ready.
Okay. When are you most productive?
Oh, morning.
What's the best advice a mentor ever gave you about your industry?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, be open-minded.
If you could change one thing about your industry, what would it be?
That people see that there's room for everyone, that it doesn't have to be a competition always, and it doesn't have to be cutthroat, but there is a place for all of us to win.
Wow. If your life was a lifetime movie, what would your tagline be?
uh, run away from the killer. Like there'd be something in there. There had to be a killer, right? Let's just be honest.
I mean, it's a Lifetime movie, so I mean that's generally their mantra. Okay.
Yes.
If your life was a children's book, what would it be?
Oh, the places.
Mm. What's something new you've learned in the past week?
In the past week, there was that you have to be patient, that mistakes happen. And I think sometimes we forget that mistakes will happen. But one, I think we forget. We don't learn and we don't grow if we don't make mistakes.
I agree. Physical strength or mental strength?
Mm, physical. I'm working on the mental.
Thinker or doer?
Mm, depends.
Okay.
But if I had to pick, I would be probably thinker.
Are you more cautious or bold?
Cautious.
What was your last impulse buy?
Oh, those sweat flex leggings on Facebook. I don't know if you've seen them, but they got little bands in the legs.
I've seen the leggings, Shelly.
Well, that's perfectly AI. I don't even know why I got this ad and I bought them, and they actually do hurt. I wore them one day and walked like 14,000 steps, and my legs were sore for 2 days.
Oh my goodness. I'm still thinking, like, have I seen the leggings? What is your go-to karaoke song?
Baby got back.
Absolutely. Following questions. You also dance to this song?
I do. And I sing it in my kitchen and make my dogs dance with me. So they run when I starting to sing it. They actually run away.
Wow. All right. The last question for today. What is something that you wish you could tell your younger self?
I think it would be around confidence. Have the confidence and believe in yourself. I think sometimes we rely on others to believe in us, and at times that's needed. But at times we also just need to be our own biggest advocate. And I think that would be my advice, is be your own biggest advocate and have confidence in your decisions.
Wow. 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 Shelly, I just had someone ping me on the side. They have one more question to ask. What shows or are you currently watching on Netflix?
I am watching, and I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say it, but it's The Fall of the House of Usher. And if it's by the people who made Haunting on Hill House and Blind. And you watch it, and the first few episodes, I'm like, what are we watching and where are we watching? But it scares me, and it's Halloween season, so gotta watch it.
Want to check out Bodies, okay, also on Netflix. Yeah.
Right down.
By the way, guys, this is not an advertisement for Netflix. They are not sponsoring 15 Minutes With, but I encourage them to if they would like.
They should, right?
They should. They should. So, Shelly, we've come to the end of our session. Any last minute notes or things that you would like to share with anyone or folks out there today?
I would just say, don't be afraid to be unapologetically yourself, because you have to be yourself in order to go forward and to mature as an individual, career, person, wife, whatever. So just be unapologetically yourself.
Wow, I love that. Thank you again, Shelly, so much for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing you, like I said, at the 15 Minutes With reunion. We'll try to get something scheduled in December with all the folks. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Lee Cage. This is 15 Minutes With. We're a little over today, but this was so exciting and wonderful, and I could not be more excited to have spent this time with my friend, Shelly Smith. Feel free to connect with her here on LinkedIn. Follow her, send her that connection, send her a note and let her know that you watched this live today. You can check out more 15 Minutes With and the commercials coming up.
I found my way into DEI, honestly, through loving people and seeing that there's a true power that comes from positive interactions.
I think the meaning of life is to enjoy it, not to take yourself too seriously, but also to learn.
Tell you need X, Y, and Z. That user adoption determines if you have a successful implementation or not.
Goes to what I refer to as finding your nucleus of things that you're really good at.